Hello everyone, this is ICBs here and today we're talking about Avengers Doomsday. Now I would be lying if I said that I wasn't excited for this movie. I think everyone on this planet that knows Marvel is excited for this movie. But there are some cause for concern as well. Mainly the problem for me is the cast of this movie which seems very bloated. And yes, we have watched the teaser trailer which was less of a teaser than a list of all the cast members that would be joining the movie. And oh boy, that list is very long. And this feels like it might end up being a very bloated movie. And now I'm not going to pretend that this hasn't worked in the past. For me, personally, Avengers Infinity War did work, and I do believe that Avengers Infinity War is one of the best Marvel movies out there, period. Not only was that movie a cinematic masterpiece, but it was also a masterpiece when it came to the writing as well. Because when you're dealing with a lot of these characters, you have to give some spotlight to each and every single one of those characters to justify them being in the movie. And Infinity War did that spectacularly. You had every character play a significant or a minor role to play in that movie, which is very impressive when you think about it. And you could definitely see the struggle that the writers had to go through because some characters had a lot of screen time and some of the characters not so much, but they still had to do something in the movie to justify their existence. With Avengers Doomsday, I do believe that the cast seems to be a lot bigger than Avengers Infinity War. I'm not sure, but yeah, the list does seems to be keep going. And what is even more cause of a concern for me is that Marvel says that this is not the entire list, that they are still in the process of hiring more actors. Now what that means is that they are still in the process of negotiating contracts with other actors. Now I did read this on Twitter, so take this bit with a major grain of salt. I read that Marvel reached out to the actress for Proxima Midnight, that was from Avengers and Avengers Endgame, and she said that they reached out to her but she ended up declining it because she didn't like being in the Marvel movies. And Marvel also was very kind of disrespectful to her as well, saying that Marvel was not going to pay her, and Marvel said that she should feel honorable that she's part of the MCU, which makes absolutely no sense. Again, this I read something on Twitter, so grain of salt, everything, don't take it too seriously, just a conspiracy theory. But the actress said that Marvel said that to her and she ended up declining the offer. And she said that the contract demanded that she also watch all of the Marvel movies or most of them, which she didn't like doing, so she ended up declining it. So this is the state of Marvel right now. They are reaching out to actors that were in the past part of the MCU, or maybe not just the MCU, but in general, they were present in any Marvel movie whatsoever dating back to the earliest X-Men movies. It's very surprising that Marvel is just going out of their way to hire as many actors as possible, and it shows that Marvel is absolutely 100 billion% banking on nostalgia. I think it worked really well with Spider-Man No Way Home. That movie was fantastic. A lot of people say that it was a mediocre movie, but for me it worked. For me it worked with all of its nostalgic glory. Seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man was just everything to me in the universe. But honestly, that nostalgia wore off for me. For instance, in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, whenever they brought back the OG X-Men, it just didn't really work for me. It just didn't really hit the same way. So I just didn't like it. And now Marvel is doing all of that, but on a much grander scale, trying to bring back as many actors from the past movies as possible. And I just don't think that it's feasible. I don't think that most of these actors that we will see in Avengers Doomsday we will ever see in the future of the MCU again, because it would be very hard to keep their future in MCU secure, because if they want to keep them in, they would have to give them something of their own show or a movie, which I just don't think that Marvel will do. So I'm assuming that all of these characters will come in Avengers Doomsday, they will make their cameo and they will just get out. And this whole thing about Marvel still currently trying to reach out other actors and trying to negotiate contracts, which worries me, is that if Marvel is still reaching out to actors and trying to negotiate things, does that mean that Marvel really has a solid script on their desk somewhere? Because if they have a solid script, why are they still reaching out to different actors? And if they are reaching out, it does that mean whenever those actors agree to be part of this movie, will they amend the script and add their role in later? Then does that mean that their role was always meant to be in the movie, or they could have been removed at any time? Does that mean that the whole script even matters, or their role even matters? And if it doesn't matter, then why bring them into this movie just to make a cheap cameo? And I know a lot of you love how things are shifting with Marvel nowadays, and but even though I feel like I am a third degree burn victim of Marvel because I've been burnt so many times by Marvel, I just don't think that this could work out really well. Again, it could be a really great cake with a lot of cream on top of it, but as much as delicious the cream looks, it's just not healthy for you. And I do think that all of these actors are going to be the same thing. They're just going to be like the cream on top of the cake, but the cake is going to be a very small thing, and the cream is just going to be like 4 or 5 times the size of the cake. That was a really bad analogy, and I'm sorry for that, but that's how I feel right now. But I believe that this video has gone long enough, so I will leave the ball in your court now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, it's time for a goodbye.